wanted to venture into this story. This is a really important story to me, and because I talk a lot about EV vehicles, I talk a lot about Teslas, I talk a lot about Cybertrucks, and my thing about it is that I still continuously say that the necessary amount of research and development, and people always get this wrong, and I try to correct people on this. People always say research and development, which is probably the true statement, but the statement should be, guys, it should be research and development. And I say that because I really truly believe that there's an immense lack of research and development of these vehicles. The desire to get these vehicles out so quickly and get them to the public and get those dollars back from selling you these cars is putting a strong lack of importance on the research and development so that bad things don't happen when you're driving these vehicles. So today we're talking about Gilbert Arenas' son, Elijah Arenas' car accident in his Tesla Cybertruck. And the consensus is, and even Gilbert Arenas' consensus is, that it was the Tesla malfunctioning that caused the accident. So that's where we're going to venture into. We're going to check out the news report on the accident. Then we're going to, I was going to watch the whole Gilbert Arenas interview up on Up in Smoke, but just to get you guys out of here, get you guys back out here enjoying this beautiful California weather, we're just going to watch his portion where he talks about the accident itself and how it was caused. Okay, so let's check it out. First, let's check out the news report on the accident, and we'll go from there.
A rising basketball star from Chatsworth High in a coma tonight after a terrifying crash involving a Tesla Cybertruck. 18-year-old Elijah Arenas, the crown jewel of USC's incoming recruitment class. Tonight, his hoop dreams are in question. Fox 11's Ed Laskos is live in Winnetka with the very latest for us. Ed?
Laura, you talked about it. We're learning more about this terrible crash. We're also learning a lot more about the terrible crash and the man behind the wheel of that Tesla Cybertruck, that crown jewel of the local basketball scene, Elijah Arenas. Let's start with the crash itself. First of all, the security video. Let's take a look at it. It shows the impact to the right of your screen as that Tesla Cybertruck slams into a huge tree. This on Colbert Ave, just in Winnetka, right around the corner, huge tree. And then some cell phone video here moments after the crash. There's a water geyser because that Tesla runs right through a fire hydrant and then slams into that big tree. And if all of that's not bad enough, that Cybertruck starts to burn. They quickly put out the fire, pull out the driver, and now we know it is 18-year-old Elijah Arenas, the crown jewel basketball scene from Chatsworth, one of the rising stars, one of the biggest college recruits of all the major college programs in the entire country. You know his dad, too, the former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas. And to add irony to the terrible tragedy, just a couple days ago, about a week ago, Elijah came out saying that he had just made a commitment. He was going to play for the Trojans. USC as a freshman. Now all of that bright future in jeopardy because of the crash. Let's listen to this neighbor turned first responder turned witness. Listen.
So I ran out of the house and I saw it was a huge fire, and it was a Cybertruck hit by the tree, and the fire hydrant was blowout. So I called right away to 911 and reported, and it was a very bad and huge accident.
And this from USC outposting, it reads, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with Elijah and his family following this morning's accident. Please keep him, his teammates and friends, and the entire Arenas family in your prayers." Stop quote. Is back out here now. Everybody asking about it. The condition. Well, first responders told us that Elijah listed as stable. They said there appeared to be no broken bones, but the big concern was smoke inhalation because that Tesla started the burn, lots of toxic, caustic smoke. They pulled him out of there, and that is perhaps why he's been placed into a medically induced coma at this point, dealing with the after effects of all that smoke inhalation. But again, it's an entire community, basketball community, Trojan community, everybody out with their prayers tonight, hoping for the best for this young man. For now, we're live here, Laura. Back to you on the west side.
Ed, I would imagine in a situation like this, people have been stopping by the crash point and talking about it. What are you hearing?
Actually, the only folks who were coming by were the neighbors, believe it or not, that we saw, because the tree has a lot of scarring from the fire itself. It's a huge, probably a eucalyptus tree, I'm thinking, and then the fire hydrant all ripped off there, too. But they were coming by, the neighbors, talking about it, and that nice lady who helped us as one of the eyewitnesses, the first lady to call 911, actually, she actually said that Gilbert, Elijah's dad, came by a couple of hours after the crash and wanted to thank her personally for looking after his son and calling 911 to get the first responders to the scene.
We certainly hope for the best for that family. Thank you so much, Ed.
All right, so it's one of those situations where we just gotta feel for Elijah. Just hope for it that he makes a great recovery, and we get to see him in the NBA, because that was the goal, and that's what we expect to be soon. Maybe a year or two in USC. But the prayers, he'll be fine. I think everything is saying that he will be fine. But the point that we're here is that because Gilbert Arenas is under the impression that it was the vehicle that caused the accident. He said that the steering wheel went limp, and that was caused the accident. And it was just one of those things that I've talked about a lot on my show, is that these vehicles, we just don't know enough about them, and there's situations where we're just not prepared. So let's check out Gilbert Arenas talking about the incident and talking about how he feels about what happened. And this is TMZ.
Long story short is, the car, malfunctioned on them. The steering wheel went limp and, ran right into a tree. But, once he got his personality back, which is once they took the drugs out of him, right? Our jokes came back, and man, boy, you almost went extra crispy on me, man. Right? You almost went extra crispy, dog.
Because you said that, those windows are bulletproof. He couldn't break the window.
He couldn't break the window. And
so he was stuck in a car that was on fire.
Yeah, and I had to, I have his phone. I had his phone, got his phone. So I seen that, when people are like, oh, he fell asleep. I'm looking at, he's on the phone, right? He's on the phone with 911. I'm trying to get that call. He was on the phone with them for 10 minutes. So I know he was at least in the car for 10 minutes, right? And, it's, once he started, talking and, doing all that, just realized he couldn't break the window, start doing all the back search on the car. And, it's, if you're a parent and your teen has this car, you might want to put a hammer in that joint.
Something to be able to
something that can break the window, because physically
not strong enough.
He said he was trying to kick the door, the window, and he couldn't. And I said, I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna just be honest with you, because when he got home, we had flowers for him, and I gave him that speech. I said, listen, you're a lucky one to see this. Mm-hmm. Most people don't get to see the flowers and how everybody reacts when something happens. So you get to witness what the world did when you was sleep, when you was in an induced coma. So this is what's supposed to make you great, that you watch life that could have just ended, right? You can't take this for granted.
All right, and this is my whole thing with most EV vehicles, and a lot of this is about the design and how these cars are created. And there's some great ones out there, and I don't want people to sit here and act like this is me on a crusade against Tesla or Cybertrucks or Elon Musk, because I'm a fan of Elon Musk. I'm pretty much a fan of Tesla. But I do still have fears about EV vehicles, and a lot of them because of situations like this. They put these situations in these vehicles where you can be locked in them. You could be not have the ability. This is a strong kid. He should have been able to kick that window out so he could climb out. He was trying to kick the window out. And this is, and at the end of my rant about this, I'm going to talk about some safety things that I've talked about for a while. Okay? My thing is that these cars are going to start to come hard and fast. And they are not getting the complete research while they're being developed that they need. And they're going to put people in certain situations. And what we're going to find, because we're in a world where they have this ultimate desire to have the roads completely full of EV vehicles, we're going to get to a situation where there's going to be a lot of EV vehicles that are made that they're going to jump, they're going to skip some steps. They're going to avoid certain things because they want to make these cars affordable. They want to make these cars available to those people who don't have a lot of money. And those cars are going to come with certain hangups because they're going to lack in the research and development, and they're going to lack in the safety features that you're going to need to keep people safe in these vehicles. I am not a fan of recessed handles. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the lack of an inability to open a door from the inside. Not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of an electronic control on all parts of the safety mechanism that unlocks and locks these vehicles. I'm not a fan of it because these are the things that will stop you from being able to exit the vehicle in dangerous circumstances. One of my biggest things, and I'm just going to finish this up really quickly, just want to first pray for Elijah. I pray that you have a complete recovery. I pray that you have a great accomplishments over at USC, and I cannot wait to see you in the NBA. Gilbert Arenas is fantastic hooper. He was hooping with a great time for me. He has a great show on Gilbert Arenas, so please check that out. Please check out Up in Smoke. Barnes and Stacks have a great show out there. There's a lot of great podcasts, guys, that you have to check out. So, in closing, this is what I'm going to say. With all of these new vehicles and situations like this, like Gilbert has said, I had already purchased everybody one of those window breakers for their cars. All my people, my family have those. I got a deal on some, bought some for everybody. Everybody has one. It's almost a necessity in these cars because of certain situations. Specifically in these new cars, bulletproof glass, it's not something that every person's going to have. Every person's going to have to worry about. That in itself is a separate thing. But I've always said this, and this is a safety features that if somebody wants to steal from me and add into these cars, so be it. Make your money. Just give me credit to some degree, okay? I think all cars should have a manual way to roll the windows up and down. It's simple. I've seen it. I created one in one instance, for a car that we had built, that we took out of junkyard and we had built it. We just couldn't figure out a way for the windows to stay up. And I just created a little latch lever and a little turn bot that would, make this little set of ratchets go up and push this window up. And it was an old car, super old car. But, it's extremely small little lever. And I say that you could create this extremely small lever. And with all of the leverage and technologies that you have, you can create this small lever that's right underneath the door handle, right underneath the door handle that turns, okay? And with technology, it could create a spear that pushes the windows up and down when necessary. In most cases, you could even create it to the point where only rolls windows down. It's a safety mechanism for so many reasons, because if there's any situation where your window, the electronics stop working on your window and that window can't go up and down, there's just so many situations where that's bad. Even a situation where you're in some extremely hot place and you don't have air conditioning and you need to roll your window down just so you can get air in the car so you don't die of heat You know what I mean? So, very extremely simple thing that I would say is that every car, every car, it, every car, specifically these EV cars, most cars with electric roll up and down situations. I say this all the time. I would want a car that has less electronics because, of course, it's going to be cheaper because less things to fix, but it's going to be safer to some degree. And what I'm saying is that we should create a situation, and this is be very extremely helpful for this Elijah situation. It can be extremely helpful for many situations, specifically in these newer model cars that are designed that the windows are going to be completely electrical, that the systems are going to be completely electrical, because with these vehicles relying so much on electronics, all you got to do is lose power and everything's bad. All you have to do is lose power and everything's bad. Have you ever seen one of these brick Teslas that you have to try to jump start, or a Tesla is sitting in such a horrible position in a garage or anything like that, and it's brick, and to figure out some way to start it, it's almost impossible. You have to get the tow truck. You have to get somebody to pull it or push it, and it's in park, so the wheels are not going to move. It's such a horrible situation. We have to, with this new advantageousness of being completely electrical and depending completely on electronics in our vehicles, we have to put in these safety features that are not electronic that we can use when electricity goes out. Because we have to understand, people, that electricity is not finite. There's a situation, there's a world we can understand that we could lose electricity. Portugal lost power a couple of weeks ago. And I couldn't even watch my favorite YouTuber because he had lost power over in Portugal. You think we're immune to that? I'm telling you, the minute that the world is sitting on a situation where we are even 51% of the cars on our roads are EV, we're gonna have a power problem. I guarantee it. The minute that over 51% of our cars on our roads are EVs, we're gonna have a power problem. And we just don't have the infrastructure for these EVs. I say this all the time. But I'm starting to go too far into the rant. It's time to get up out of here. It is beautiful. It's Cali Roots. Probably go see T-Pain tonight. And I hope y'all have a good time too. I'm Chris Surratt. Please like, share, subscribe. Hit me in the DMs if you have any questions. And I'm out of here. Peace.